Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. We're still covering Sundance films, and the next one we're taking a look at, it's called The Rainbow Experiment. I have Christina Kallas with me, director and screenwriter of the film. How are you?
Thank you for having me here.
I appreciate you being here. Where'd you come from?
New York.
New York. A little bit of a time change.
Yes, 2 hours.
Have you been here a couple days in?
Yes, it's my third day here.
Nice.
And my first time in Park City.
Really?
Yes.
Which means it's your first time at Sundance and
That's
Sundance.
right.
Yes. It's a really busy time here in Park City. Well, let's get to talking about the Rainbow Experiment. Will you give us a little background on the storyline?
Yes, well, it takes place in a day, 12 hours, and it's basically the day after an explosion has happened in a high school, in a public high school in New York, in Manhattan, where a kid gets hurt and is in the ICU. So an explosion has happened in a chemistry lab, and we basically follow what happens the day after, and it involves the parents, the students, the Department of Education that sends to investigators in, the principal. So it's very explosive for the lives of all of these characters.
Well, that's the unique thing about this film, right? Is you guys have 36 characters. It's a 2-hour film, and you kind of dive into each of their lives and how this explosion affected all of them, right?
Yes, and not only how it affected them, it's also, you know, how they react to what is happening emotionally. There's a lot going on in a parent's mind when something like this happens in a school, or the other students who were in the same classroom and they saw their mate, you know, the friend going up in flames, and all this, you know, that the teacher whose class it happened in. I kind of like the audience to feel for all of these characters at the same time.
Right. How did you come up with the story?
Oh, that's you know, it's something that I mean, I'm an educator myself. I teach film, so I have a son. I kind of, you know, it's something that happens sometimes in schools, with something goes wrong, and it involves all those people. So, you know, that's something that interests me.
So 36 characters. Tell me about the casting process. I mean, that's a lot of people to cover.
Yes. It is. I have a very unusual process because I don't do auditions or a casting process in the usual sense of the word. I have an ensemble of actors that I work with over the years, and it gets expanded with each film's needs. And I do a workshopping process that takes for about 1.5 years.
Wow.
And well, in this case, it took 1.5 years because it was 36 characters. And,
right.
And we do weekly sessions. I basically invite actors that I'm interested in to those to this process, and you know, we work together in a very fun rehearsal process that goes deep into the lives of each character.
That's awesome. And so the filming process, tell me about that. I mean, how long did it take to film? You're covering one day, right? 12 hours after the chemistry lab explosion. How long did you film?
We filmed for 12 days, 12 very packed days and nights, and that's because I had this long rehearsal process before. Otherwise, you know, it wouldn't have been possible. You know, I do a lot of split screening, so you know, you see the different points of view of the characters, what's happening to them at the same time, not throughout the film, and it's you know, it's a very intense process of shooting, which you know, happens in a very short period of time, and that is reflected also in the tense structure of the film. So ideally, I want the audience to feel like they're in the middle of what's happening. You know, it's a very immersive experience for the audience.
What a cool style to achieve too. Very
Yeah.
active and fast-paced, I
Right,
imagine.
very fast-paced, yes.
Well, tell me, where's the film showing and when?
It's showing, it has already showed in Sundance we premiered on Saturday, and we have another screening tomorrow at 10:30 in the gallery at the Treasure Mountain Inn. And then, you know, that's the launch of our festival tour, and we're moving on to other festivals down
So
the
it's going to
road.
keep moving.
Yes, absolutely.
Lovely. Well, Christina, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate you sharing, seriously, what an interesting process that you have gone through to create this film. It's very different.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we'll head over to the Treasure Mountain Inn tomorrow at 10:30 for the showing of The Rainbow Experiment. We have a lot more coming up right after this.